All right, we're trying this. We're going to Game 5. Thanks to you guys for joining me. I'm wearing my bacon shirt. I'm back in my basement. The Cavs did it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Game 4. Let's talk about what you think is going to happen in the rest of this series. We can't only talk about 3-1 and last year. I don't want to talk about last year that much. We know what happened last year. I'm trying to find out from you guys if you think something is possible here now. Is something possible here? Was this a single great performance by a team that wasn't ready to go home? Or is this the beginning of something? This is Doug Lesmerises from cleveland.com. Make sure you go to cleveland.com after this game, which is just ended. Cavs win Game 4. Make sure you go to cleveland.com, read Bud Shaw, read Joe Vardon, read Chris Fedor, read all our great writers who are in Cleveland right now. I am not. I am in my basement, but I want to talk to you guys because we need to talk about this. That said something about the Cavs, right? That said something about the Cavs. That said something about the Cavs. Whatever happens, this will go down a little bit differently in history than what it would have been if it would have ended tonight. And I think that matters, and I think that matters to the Cavs. Of course, they're trying to win this series. That's why they went out and did this. But regardless, if Golden State comes out and wins by 20 in Game 5 at home, this did something. This did something. It keeps the Warriors. It means they're not going to have a perfect postseason. It means no one's ever going to be able to talk about the Cavs getting swept in the finals here, right? It means, as Ty is checking in, they have a lot more fight than last year. He might be talking about the Warriors. Listen, because the Cavs showed all this fight last year, right? You got to show something. You don't want to go out and think we blew it in Game 3 and you roll over in Game 4. Who wants to go out that way? They didn't want to go out that way. So, of course you want the Cavs to win the series now. Of course the Cavs want to win this series. But this is something for the history books, regardless of whether this is not a historic comeback or not. Love the effort by Richard Jefferson, says King. Thanks for being here, King. Bring me your comments. Bring me your questions. What does this say to you? It keeps them alive. Okay, we know that. What do you think about Game 5? People are going to start talking about the pressure flipping and that kind of thing. The Warriors still have a 3-1 lead. They still have Kevin Durant. There were 4 things I said about the Warriors going into this series that were different compared to last year. Okay? They were healthy. They're still healthy. They were ticked off because last year they blew a lead. They're still ticked off, so they're not going to roll over, right? They were more rested, so they're not going to wear down the way they had to go to a 7-game series in the Western Conference Final last year, maybe got tired at the end of that series. We know Draymond's not going to be suspended, and they still have Kevin Durant. So there's still many more things in the Warriors' favor in this 3-1 situation than in last year's 3-1 situation, okay? I don't think we're not just going to sit here and say it's going to be a repeat of the Cavs coming back from 3-1. But what did this tell you about the Cavs? All right, we laid all that out. Again, Doug Lesmerises from cleveland.com here in my basement. We just laid out the baseline of this. But what did you learn about the Cavs? Did you think they were going to do this? When I'm pointing at my TV. Did you think this is what was going to happen? Or did this surprise you tonight? Did you think the Cavs might be ready to go home after losing that lead the way they did in Game 3? So now we could also sit here and say, man, if they had played a better final 3 minutes in Game 3, this series would be tied, would be in a very different place. We can say that if we want to. But we can also say that the Cavs showed us something. All right, listen, I switched internet providers this afternoon, and I'm hoping it's not going to screw up our live feed here. I hope it doesn't. I want comments from you guys. I want questions from you guys. King is in. Game 5 is going to be interesting. I see you here, King. Give me more. Who's going to win Game 5? Do people think... You just watched it. You just lived it. I'm assuming most of you are Cavs fans. If you're a Warriors fan, that's great too. If you're just an NBA fan, that's great. Who do you have in Game 5? Does this look like a Cavs team ready to come out and win Game 5? Or do you expect, boom, the Warriors will get back to what they were in the first 3 games? Here's 2 things, right? I've been waiting. Part of, if you're a Cavs fan, you're just waiting for the Warriors to go a little cold. This game, Klay Thompson, 4 of 11. Steph Curry, 4 of 13. Kevin Durant, 9 of 22. okay, that puts you in a much more winnable situation if you're the Cavs, all right? So, you could not come into this series and think Durant was going to shrink and Klay Thompson was going to continue to be cold. The way maybe Durant had not risen to the challenge in the past, the way Klay Thompson had been cold in the playoffs, okay? If that was your strategy as a Cavs fan or as the Cavs, that was not going to get you through this series. But it got you through this game. Steph and Klay were not great, and it gave the Cavs an opening for LeBron and Kyrie being great to be enough. We saw LeBron James and Kyrie Irving being great in Game 3 wasn't enough, with a good contribution from J.R. Smith. Tonight, because those Warriors were a little cold, great Kyrie, great LeBron, combining for 71. I think they combined for 77 in Game 3. So LeBron and Kyrie actually combined for fewer points. J.R. Smith gave you 15 tonight. I think he gave you 16 in Game 3. Those three guys actually scored less. The difference is Tristan Thompson had a pulse tonight. Kevin Love made his outside shots. I think he was 1 of 7 on three-pointers in Game 3. 6 of 8 on threes tonight for Kevin Love. A lot of those off other people creating for him, but he's got to make those shots. The bench gave you a little more tonight. The bench was outscored in Game 3 for the Cavs. I think it was 23-11. Tonight, the Cavs bench scored 23. Okay? Tonight, the Cavs bench scored 23. Darren Williams hit a shot. Well, he hit one shot. Actually, he hit two. Yeah. He scored 5 points. They played both Williams tonight, so it confused me. Darren Williams, 5 points. Shump, 5 points. Richard Jefferson, 8. The bench was a plus tonight. Richard Jefferson's a plus 13. King saying the series should be tied. You can go there if you want to, King. I get that, right? The way they blew at the end of Game 3, if you want to go straight to, what could have been. That's what could have been. But I think you can also be able to put that behind you and say, what is, and what is this team showed something. I think this is a borderline franchise-changing game, even if the Warriors win Game 5. A lot of talk after Game 3 was, are they going to trade Kevin Love in the offseason? Somebody wrote a story about, will LeBron go to L.A.? You had the impression that people were talking about, are the Warriors going to win 5 out of 6? Are they one of the great teams of all time? The Warriors looked unbeatable, and the Cavs looked like they didn't have enough the way they are currently constructed. But when this happens, when they score more points in a half than any team in finals history, when this happens, that changes that belief on both sides. The indestructible team has been destructed, and the Cavs team that just didn't have enough, all of a sudden, even if they lose the series, and they're still down 3-1, even if they lose the series, are you sure they don't have enough? Are you sure that you've got to change this team in the offseason? Or did the Warriors just beat them this series? The Warriors aren't going anywhere, but maybe the Cavs don't have to go anywhere either. We're getting the Cavs in 7 people out here. I'm not going Cavs in 7. Okay? I talked to J.R. Smith, and we can talk about this for a minute if you guys want to. If you want me to shut up about JR, I will. After Game 3, I was standing in line outside the Cavs locker room, waiting to go in. There's a big line. I was like 60th in line. And the J.R. Smith tweet came out, I think about 12:04, just after midnight, Cavs in 7. It's like, holy moly. So we go in, everybody crowds around JR. I can't even hear what he's saying. He comes out of the pack and heads out of the locker room, and I said, JR, did anybody ask you about the tweet? And he said, oh, I was hacked. I didn't send that tweet. And I thought that was going to be a moment for J.R. Smith to say, yeah, I'll tell you about that tweet. I tweeted Cavs in 7. I'm going to stand here behind it, and we're going to rally around this team, and that's going to be the rallying cry for this team and this fan base. He didn't say that. He said he was hacked. He said he came out of the shower and his phone was buzzing. Whatever happened, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But maybe I'm waiting for a J.R. Smith tweet right now. Maybe he'll tweet Cavs in 7 right now and stand behind it, because that's what you're feeling. I can see it. Sweet and Sour Dragon, Cavs in 7. Max and Jason, Cavs in 7. Keep fighting. If the Cavs play like today, they will win. King Wani, Cavs need to play better when LeBron is on the bench. He sits for a second, then go on an 8-0 run. David Scarborough, Cavs need to tighten up on their defensive line. Better defense though, right? He played like he didn't get hacked. Crazy Bone. See, I wanted JR to stand behind it, man. We know what JR is about. Stand behind it. So whatever. But I was ready to make T-shirts for that tweet, man. Cavs in 7. BTYF. Cavs in 7. Crazy Bone. He played like he didn't get hacked. I know I already said that. I love that. Yeah, Eddie Vidmar's trying to break it down. If he came out of the shower and his phone was buzzing, somebody else probably did it. But I mean, like what? It's like a locker room attendant going around tweeting off JR's phone. One of his teammates is going to grab his phone. I don't know what's going on, man. So anyway, the Cavs won tonight, and that says something. J.R. Smith was amazing. He could not miss. Taking some crazy JR shots, right? But I mean, this is your formula. So you don't have to score 86 points in the first half to beat the Warriors, right? But this is your formula. And this is what I said after the first 2 games. I said I thought this was going to come back to Cleveland and be a more competitive series. Why? Because in the first 2 games, J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson gave you nothing. They gave you a lot more than nothing tonight. J.R. Smith gave you a lot more than nothing in Game 3. But Tristan Thompson waking up is a big deal, right? I thought this would be a more competitive series in the first 2 games because Kyrie had not gone off. We have seen what Kyrie has done the last 2 games. And I thought it would be a more competitive series because the Cavs were cold on their three-point shooting. They almost won and should have won in Game 3, and they still didn't have a great percentage from three-point range. And then we saw what we did tonight. Someone asked earlier, what's the final breakdown on the three-pointers? 24 of 45. 53%. Now listen, they're not going to make 23 three-pointers in Game 5. They're not going to shoot 53%. But this is a good three-point shooting team. I don't want them to get in a three-point shooting contest with the Warriors. I don't think that's the way to win this series. I think they got to get to the basket. We all see that. When LeBron and Kyrie get to the basket, we see what that does. When Tristan Thompson hits the boards off that, we see what that does. Kevin Love is getting wide open looks from James and Irving penetration. That's great. We don't want to see him play hero ball. They still do it at times. We don't want hero ball from Irving and James dribbling for 20 seconds and jacking a 3. What's up, Jermaine? Good to see you again. Jermaine Sands checking in. He's a loyal YouTube video watcher. So listen again, go to cleveland.com, read our stuff. I don't know, Jermaine, that was a great game, right? Did you enjoy it? What do you think? Give me your thoughts, Jermaine. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Cleveland.com YouTube channel. We have a special Cavs YouTube channel again when LeBron talks, when Ty Lue talks, when Kyrie talks, when J.R. Smith talks. That's where you get the videos, right? Doug DeLillo checking in. Good to see Doug DeLillo. So listen, 137-116. This is your formula. The Warriors are a little cold. The Cavs are hot. Kyrie and LeBron play big games, and they get enough contributions from the other guys. The bench was better. They didn't need a ton from the bench because Love, James, Irving, and Smith all put up big numbers. They didn't need a ton from the bench, but they got something. They can't just evaporate when LeBron goes off the floor. And again, we saw that mostly happen again tonight. 41 minutes each for LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. The Warriors just don't quite play their guys that much. 39 for Durant and Draymond Green, 38 for Steph Curry. But do you think this is something where are you expecting the Cavs to be in the Warriors' heads now, right? If you were the Warriors, how would you be feeling? Do you think there's a psychological edge that flipped, even for a team that was against the wall, 3-0? I don't think you can say that the Cavs have the edge psychologically. They're down 3-1. The Warriors are going home. The Warriors have 3 chances. Well, it's the same as last. We know what they have, right? If the Cavs win Game 5, then get back to me, right? And if we get to a Game 7 and the Warriors have blown the 3-0 lead and it's 3-3, then all the pressure's on the Warriors. But right now, this is still the Cavs being in a very tough spot. LeBron James and Kyrie Irving have been unbelievable for 2 straight games. They have to play at that level. Can they keep that up if Derek Williams needs more minutes? YP Curry, the Warriors will not blow another lead with KD. I mean, I know there's some excited Cavs fans here predicting Cavs in 7. It would be Kevin Durant is a great safety net, right? I mean, that's what he was in Game 3. If he's not there, the Cavs win Game 3. But he's going to erase mistakes. Kevin Durant can erase mistakes with 2 or 3 shots, just like Steph Curry can. So, The Cavs had nothing to lose, says Crazy Bone. Well, that's true. And they could have packed it in tonight. So again, I think that shows something from the Cavs. Do you think this shows something from the Cavs that lasts? Does this have you, regardless, say the Cavs lose game 5, does this one game still make you think differently about the Cavs going into the offseason? Durant's a cupcake, says Jermaine. Come on, Jermaine. You saw Durant in this game. You saw Durant in this series. Durant's been good all the time. Durant tonight, 35 points. He's a minus 22, but 35 points, 15 of 16 at the line, 9 of 22 from the field, 2 of 9 on three-pointers. They just didn't shoot great from 3 tonight. 11 of 39. Listen, the Warriors are 11 of 39 on threes for 28%. You got to win a game like that. And there were still moments here where the Cavs led the whole game. And Cavs led by double figures basically the whole game. There were still a couple moments here and there where the lead got down to 13 or something late in the third, and you thought to yourself, are the Warriors about to go nuts here? And they didn't. They were cold tonight. Part of that is because the Cavs stepped up, and you saw the way Tristan Thompson was shadowing Draymond Green around the floor, right? You saw the way this team just locked in a little better defensively. You hope it doesn't take being down 3-0 for them to decide to use that energy on both ends of the floor. Oh, come on. Axel, what if the Cavs lost and they signed Giannis? What if they trade J.R. Smith for Kawhi, too? King Wani, you're still blowing up the team, King? After that, go after Paul George and get a center? Listen, I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, we have all kinds of stuff planned going into the offseason of if this ends, what do you have to do to make this team better if you think we can't beat the Warriors? But I feel like this one game might have changed that. Are you sure? I mean, the Warriors aren't going to take the next step this offseason they took last offseason unless they get Kawhi. They can't. It's impossible. Who are they going to add? They can bring Magic Johnson back? They can't get that much better. The Cavs don't have a lot to work with, but maybe I think they could improve the bench a little bit, right? But I don't know that I would blow up the core. I don't know that I would go make the big Kevin Love trade for somebody else. Now, if you can get somebody here or there, I mean, if you can get Carmelo Anthony somewhere or the other, I understand that. But this game, to me, showed that the Cavs can play with the Warriors. And Game 3 showed the same thing. Listen, man, the Warriors were great at home. The Cavs were right with them for 2 games, and this easily could be 2-2. So to me, this does not say to me, which is what everybody was talking about between Game 3 and Game 4, this does not say to me the Cavs cannot compete with the Warriors long term. They must do something. That was competing, man, right? I mean, we saw that. I feel like this showed something that people maybe didn't think was there. Too old, Doug DeLillo. You don't want Carmelo. I mean, I'm just saying names. I mean, like, we still have a series, so we don't have to talk offseason yet. Jermaine wants to trade Love. You guys want to trade Love? Eddie Vidmar wants Blake Griffin or DeAndre Jordan. Crazy Bone, that game tonight is good for team chemistry, so it's good for the offseason. Yeah, I mean, you're going to walk into the offseason a little differently than if the Warriors would have come out and swept you tonight, made history as a 16-0 playoff team. You don't want to be on the wrong end of history. Nobody wants to be on the wrong end of history, okay? So, I don't think I'd come back and take your shot, man. I'd come back and take your shot. I don't think you have to do a ton different. Love's been great this series, says DeLillo. And keep Love. I'm with you. Keep Love, but improve the bench, says Crazy Bone. YP Curry says, I got KD dropping 70 on the Cavs in Game 5. Listen, man, you know Steph and Clay are going to be better. Durant's been good. I mean, he's 30 again tonight. Steph was not into it much tonight. He'll be better. He'll be better at home in Game 5. You know that. Carmelo is too old, says BTYF. No thanks. If we do trade, then trade for a player that's as old as Kevin Love or Kyrie and keep Love. How big has RJ been? I think he means JR. Listen, people were ready to give up on JR. No, you mean Richard Jefferson. Sorry, DeLillo. You mean Richard Jefferson. Richard Jefferson's giving you some good bench minutes. You got to improve that bench, though, right? You could use a defender on that bench. I don't know if Darren Williams is a long-term answer. Maybe a different backup point guard. Sorry, DeLillo. I know. I thought you typoed, but you're a former journalist. You're not going to typo that. You're talking Richard Jefferson. But you need a couple more. I mean, Iguodala and Sean Livingston are so good for the Warriors, right? You've got to match that bench. They've got to be able to generate offense when LeBron's not on the court. So I think that's something. They went so heavy offense with their moves with Kyle Korver and Darren Williams, and you thought maybe Derek Williams, although he's been no part of this series. They could use some defense. They could use a defender, right? Add a defender. But, you know, I don't know. You're right there, though. How much of a gap right now? So we know the Warriors, how much better they are from a year ago. How much of a gap do you feel like overall there is between the Warriors and the Cavs? It looked like this big after the first two games, but it certainly has shrunk in games 3 or 4. Do you think the Warriors are way better than the Cavs? Or do you think the Cavs are right there and in the right circumstance where a couple things go their way, they can win a series? Jermaine says not much of a gap. Mike Lowry's, he's checking in now. Mike Lowry's here. Mike Lowry, get some quality time. Listen, 3-1 sounds familiar, right? So everybody wants to talk 3-1. YP Curry, if LeBron would have lost game 4, it would have taken LeBron's title as king and KD would have been king. The media's been gassing the Warriors up, says Jermaine. I do think there's been a lot of overreaction in this series all around. That the Warriors very reasonably played very well in the first 2 games, and all of a sudden the Cavs were dead and the Warriors were the greatest team of all time. And I didn't think that was true. I thought this would get competitive in Cleveland, and it got competitive in Cleveland. I picked the Warriors in 6. That may end up being exactly right. I picked the Warriors in 6, but I thought this would be a competitive series. And I think you would call it that now, right? Okay, so the Warriors, again, were very good early on, but this is now a competitive series. Not that much of a gap, says Mike. So, I don't know. For me, crazy boat. For me, they're the same level, but KD's like a cherry on top. Okay. But I don't think you have to be the Cavs and think this is impossible. We've got to tear this apart. Yeah, now people are getting mad. Jermaine's mad that Paul Pierce called KD the best player in the world over LeBron. People overreacted, which is okay. We do that. I've been known to overreact at times. Game 5 is going to be difficult. Listen, if Draymond's not suspended for Game 5 last year, we're not going to relive all that. But obviously there were things in play for Game 5 last year that aren't in play here. You have to imagine that Klay Thompson and Steph Curry are going to be better. Nobody's going to be suspended. Anthony Howard, everyone get ready for the Kevin Durant is carrying the Warriors and Kevin Durant's one-man show headlines on ESPN. The Cavs have more momentum than last year. They also have one more game to come back from. So they had to do that just to get the 3-1. So, I don't know. Draymond should have been kicked out. What happened? The refs are messing up. BTYF. That was confusing. It feels like they got caught in a weak second technical foul on Draymond, overreacting in the moment, and they sort of weaseled their way out of it, or they didn't understand what they'd done in the first half. That was really odd. I didn't think Draymond did enough to get kicked out with that second technical, but that was odd. That was bad. Is Klay Thompson sick of Kyrie eating his lunch the last 8 quarters yet, says DeLillo. Listen, right? Klay was great on Kyrie the first 2 games. Kyrie has done his thing the last 2, right? I did think, if we want to talk about groin punches, because who doesn't want to talk about groin punches? I thought it was odd that the announcers went off on that tangent about the fan getting kicked out and how fans say terrible things to players, and then it was like, let's get back to guys punching each other in the groin and no fouls being called. Listen, I get it, but we're going to play the game now that fans saying things to millionaires is the worst thing that ever happened in a game when a guy got punched in the nuts. So I thought the whole thing was odd. Clearly the refs lost control of the game. I don't want to talk about refs because there was too much good basketball to get bogged down in refs. And in the end, the team that played the best tonight won. Okay, so the team that played the best won. The refs in the end didn't have an effect. They didn't change the game. Zork's asking, what did the fans say? I don't know what the fans said. It looked like he got into it with Matt Barnes a little bit. I I don't know all the ins and outs of the Cavs. Joe Varden was saying it was a guy who sits courtside who's friends with LeBron and is very familiar to the players. Liebs, right? You guys probably know who I'm talking about better than I do. So I don't know. I mean, it was unfortunate. Lieb's son, Liebs Jr. So whatever that is. I mean, I thought that was odd. Let's kick out the fan and let's let guys do whatever on the court. They lost control, and it was unfortunate, but it didn't change anything. Okay? So, oh, you know what? What did you guys think when LeBron and Durant got into it? That was great, wasn't it? Like, that's like two guys getting it. I mean, everybody, an older generation like me, right? Cranky old guys like me always complain about everybody being too friendly these days. Everybody like slapping hands on the court, whatever, before you go play each other. So isn't it nice to see LeBron James and Kevin Durant get in each other's faces? Start barking at each other? That was kind of cool, right? That's how much this game mattered. Jermaine likes it, right? We love that. And then they slapped hands afterwards. Chris Fedor saw that. And then they're friends. That's okay. You could be friends and still want to really go at each other in a game. And in the game, that's what comes first, going at each other. I thought it was good. I don't think it was rigged. Really? HJ, love to see two of the best players go at it. That was great. DeLillo's making the WWE comparison. A lot of people made that tonight, right? I mean, it was wild, but it was great. I mean, we've had two great games here when I think people thought the Warriors might be coming to Cleveland to end this thing. And so you got those two games out of it. So if you're the Cavs, you did that. You showed people that. If you're the fans, if you're us talking about it, you got that. You got these two games. I'll take it. Who said they love it? Williams got talent. I love it. Mike Lowry, LeBron would beat KD's butt. HJ, even the refs were enjoying the moment. I don't know what the argument was actually about, YP Curry. You're asking why. Thoughts on Draymond's mom tweeting it was rigged and the refs got paid. Did that really happen? Are you guys like pulling my leg or is that real? I don't have Twitter up. Draymond's Green's mom really tweeted that it was rigged and the refs got paid? Is that legit? Really? She hate me, yes. Yeah, it happened. Really? I don't know. Like I said, I said this on and if you like me talking in my basement, then listen to our Takes by the Lake podcast. Zach Meisel and I do that twice a week. Subscribe on iTunes. Go to our cleveland.com iTunes thing. Zach and I were talking about this after Game 3. I don't like it when you can't give credit to the other team. I didn't like it when Cavs fans were saying after Game 3, well, they got Durant, the Warriors stacked the deck, it's not fair, you're trying to downgrade that championship. Listen, I mean, however you build a team within the rules, you build a team, you have to be able to acknowledge the greatness in your opponent. So I didn't like it when Cavs fans just think the Warriors are not cheating, but somehow being unfair by building a super team or whatever. Listen, they're a great team, they're your opponent, try to go beat them. What the Cavs did tonight. So I don't like it when, whether it's Steph Curry's wife or Draymond Green's mom or anybody is trying to say a game is rigged. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's an insult to the other team. And I appreciate Draymond Green. I mean, he's a genius at being what he is. And if he was a Cav, you would love him. You would love him, everybody. Jermaine and everybody else. DeLillo, you would love Draymond if he was a Cav. He's a genius at what he does. He does it all year, and every now and then when he gets caught, okay, he's got to pay the price, but most of the time he gets away with it. He gets in the other team's head. He throws people off their game. He's a great player, okay? So, but for to have to say it was rigged or whatever, I just think is unfortunate because these are two great teams. No one is denying this. Now listen, that's the other thing too, right? Hate him. BTYF. Hell no, hate him. Made me swear. Hate him? You'd take Draymond, BTYF. You know you would. Draymond is my favorite on the Warriors, even though I'm a Cavs fan. Says the Future. What's up, Future? Good to have you back. So you have to be able to, it is a fault, it's a personality fault if you cannot give a great opponent credit. As a player, as a player's family member, as a fan, I think it takes away from your own team if you can't give a great opponent credit. So the Cavs have to give the Warriors credit for what they did, playing so well in the first two games and the way they came back in Game 3. And tonight, the Warriors have to give the Cavs credit for being back against the wall, down 3-0, and playing a game like that. That was, if you think about this, and I was thinking about this during the game, Can we actually, Future's got something for me. What'd you say, Future? Oh, I missed it. Something about trade and love. All right, HJ, is the momentum towards Cleveland now, or did the Dubs just have an off game and we'll beat them in Game 5? What do you think? What do you think? Do you think this is a momentum switch, or do you think the Warriors get it right back in Game 5? I think the Warriors are going to be good in Game 5. Now, maybe the Cavs will be better and find a way to win, but I'm certainly expecting Clay and Steph to be better in Game 5 than they were tonight. I don't think Durant's going anywhere. I don't think it's a momentum switch. I don't think you can say the team down 3-1 has momentum, even after a game like this. Even when the same thing happened down 3-1 last year. So, Kodak Black, this series should be 2-2. I mean, again, we said that at the start, Kodak. If you want to go there, that's a dark place to go, because think about what it would be like if it was 2-2. Think about how you'd be feeling tonight. But that's over, so instead think about how you feel that it's not over. Let's run through it quick. I don't think the Cavs will hit 23s again, and I don't think the Dubs will miss some of the shots they did. I had the Dubs in 5, HJ. I think that is a very reasonable take. Again, we were looking at the stats. Warriors 28% from 3. That's not going to keep up. Cavs 53% from 3. I mean, these are the two best three-point shooting teams in the league. You cannot count on that happening again. I don't see that happening again. Christopher Meaning, we got him right where they want him. But Future knows the Cavs are still in the hole, right? They're still in the hole. It definitely could be 2-2. But listen, who did you think was going to win tonight? Just give me a Cavs or Warriors. Who you thought going into tonight when you sat down to watch this game, who did you think was going to win? Were Cavs fans confident? Or were Cavs fans thinking, well, this might be it. Oh, well. I wasn't sure how Cavs fans were feeling. Future, Cavs. She Hate Me, Warriors. Jermaine, Cavs. DeLillo, Cavs after the Curry dump thing on the court. Mike Lowry, Cavs. I thought the Cavs would win too. YP Curry, Warriors all day. BTYF, Warriors, but I was telling everyone the Cavs because I have faith. Jermaine, I knew Kyrie was going to put on. Tony Pashotti, I was hopeful. Cavs. JW, Cavs play the best when their backs are against the wall because Kyrie performs best. Crazy Bone, the King not letting us sweep like 07. Okay, so a lot of people had a lot of reason for the Cavs. I did think the Cavs, I think. I would have been very surprised. I said it before this series, I would be very surprised if this wasn't competitive. I was not surprised. I'm not surprised the Warriors are great. Durant has not done one thing in this series that has surprised me. Klay Thompson has not done one thing in this series that surprised me. And for LeBron James to play like this and for Kyrie Irving to come back like this in the last 2 games, that does not surprise me. So, honestly, I feel like there is very little that is actually surprising about what has happened. Durant has been great. Klay Thompson got it back after being cold in the playoffs. Kyrie Irving stepping up in games 3 and 4. LeBron, great the whole time. I mean, I just didn't... If you thought Durant wasn't going to be great, I'm not sure what you were counting on. But if you thought the Cavs were going to go away after the first 2 games, and I feel like a lot of people did, if you thought the Cavs weren't going to make this competitive, I'm not sure what you were thinking. So, we need a LeBron to drop back-to-back 40 again. She Hate Me. Steph and Katie choked at the end. Anyone else notice? Christopher Meany. Kodak Black. If the Cavs could take the next game, I have the Cavs in 7. It's going to get like a little harder for the Warriors the longer, obviously. I mean, that's not a great statement. Every game, I mean, the Warriors, if you're the Warriors, you want to get this over in 5. Because now, if the Cavs can win Game 5 and then they come back home for Game 6, and then you got a whole thing rolling. Right now, this is still a reasonable thing. The Warriors are the overall better team. They're at home in Game 5. They were great at home the first 2 games. I would expect the Warriors to win Game 5. That's what I'm expecting. But if the Cavs come out and put it to them in the first half the way they did tonight, then all of a sudden you are going to start some stuff rolling. We still need JR and Tristan to play as good or better. But did you think they wouldn't? I mean, Tristan finally came alive tonight. JR's been good the last 2 games, but did you not think that at some point those 2 guys were going to do something? I think you had to think that. HJ, I think if the Cavs can win Game 5, there's no way LeBron is going to go out at home, and he's 1 game away from Game 7. Game 5 is the most important game in the series. Game 6 is all Cavs. I mean, I think there's a lot to that. But I also think that very likely means that the Warriors win Game 5. U2 Norton, if the Cavs win Game 5, it'll go to 7. We just need to keep Game 5 close down the stretch, says She Hate Me. Kodak Black, LeBron has won 1 road game in every series he's ever played, so the number's on their side. Everybody loves that stat. I know Windhurst tweets that stat out every time they win. He gets right on that. Dubs and 5 says Anish. I mean, again, I'm probably with Anish on this, but I think regardless, the Cavs changed something tonight. The Cavs changed something tonight. They changed the way maybe they think of themselves. They changed the way history will view these finals. They changed potentially their future and what happens in this offseason. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the offseason. We don't know if David Griffin's going to be here. We don't know who's going to be in charge. I guess maybe LeBron. But we don't know who's going to be making the decisions. But I think that team tonight, it was remarkable. Was it not remarkable? I think I started to say this before and I got on a tangent. You watched a team do that to an opponent tonight, set an NBA Finals record for points scored in a half. Go out and do that in the first half and play flawless, unbelievable offensive basketball. And that was the team that was down 3-0. The Cavs played tonight like they were closing out the series. The Cavs played like they were up 3-0. But maybe they only played that way because they were down 3-0. And now I'm in their heads, and that's not what we're talking about. Remarkable and phenomenal in every way. U2 says the future. U2 Norton. RJ played like he's 27, not 37. He's been carrying the bench, hasn't he? Curry kind of choked, says YP Curry. You can have a bad game. It's okay. You can have a bad game. I'll be very surprised if Steph is not very good in Game 5. Can we trade Love the way he's played, says She Hate Me. I mean, that's the question, but I don't know. I think this team might be the team to beat the Warriors in the future. Maybe not now, but maybe down the line. Our back's against the wall, says Tony. It's disappointing at the end of the Game 3, probably decided the series, says Pedro. Otherwise, this would be either Cavs in 6 or up for grabs in Game 7. Anish, Steph will put up 30 in Game 5 and blow out the Cavs. U2 Norton, let's finish the finals before we talk about trading. I mean, I agree with that, U2 Norton. People love the future in every sport. That's why people love recruiting. That's why they love the draft. That's why they love free agency. We always want to talk about what's next, even more than we want to talk about what's now. But the beauty of this is that we don't have to get to next now. We can talk about right now. So JW says Cavs in 7. How much money do you make on YouTube, says Blaze? I don't know. What's less than nothing? Can the Cavs repeat a performance like this, 60% from 3 for 3 more games? Veterans blog. No. Veterans, that's a great point. They can't, so they have to win another way. They can't win by shooting 53% from 3 for 3 more games. They've got to do something else. Okay? Alan McGee, shut up, you don't know anything about basketball. I'm not going to argue with that. Love is playing for his Cavs career. She Hate Me. That's very interesting, right? I mean, I think that's possible. Because if it had ended tonight, we'd be viewing this very differently. It did not end. So, I'm going to let you guys go. Blaze is asking Cavs or Warriors. I said Warriors in 6 before the series. I'm still taking the Warriors. And when I said Warriors in 6, that meant I thought they were going to close it out in Cleveland. They need to be physical and bark at the Warriors. They can't handle it, Kodak Black. That was a good part of Tristan Thompson tonight, right? Not just the physical play, but getting up in Draymond's face a little bit. I like the Warriors too, says Blaze. So, I don't know. Let's stop talking and let the series continue. And don't give any predictions. All right, I'm terrible at predictions. So I won't do any more predictions. Thanks for doing this. Cleveland.com, Chris Fedor, Joe Varden, Bud Shaw, everybody else there at the game tonight. Go read their stories. I love joining you guys on YouTube. Game 5, we'll do it again on Monday night. Subscribe on our YouTube channel. It's a Cleveland.com YouTube channel. It's a specific Cavs channel. We also have a specific Browns channel, and we have a general Cleveland.com channel, okay? So, JW, are we going to forget that Stephen A. said the Warriors are going to win, which means the Cavs in 7? I know that was a thing, right? That Stephen A.'s had like 6 straight wrong finals predictions. But I can't... I'm terrible at predictions, so I'm not going to criticize anyone else for bad predictions. So, all right. Thanks to you guys. I appreciate you saying no, don't go, Blaze, but I got to go. That's good. I love interacting with you guys. That was a great game to watch. 2 great games to watch. And if you like basketball, I mean, we don't know what Game 5 is going to be, but it's nice there's going to be a Game 5. Thanks for doing it. I think I might have taken Michigan this year. Jermaine, see you later. Future, see you later. BTYF, see you later. Thanks, everybody. We'll do it again. Why wasn't I at the game? There's a lot of people there. I was going to go. I didn't go. Actually, the reason I didn't go to the game is because Ohio State hired a basketball coach today. I ended up writing a lot about Chris Holtmann today, and then I couldn't get to the game tonight. So anyway, thanks, everyone. Cleveland.com is the place to be. I'm Doug Lesmerises. This is my basement. Thanks for talking. We'll see you later. My daughter says bye, too.